What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are swapping the intake manifold on the Trans Am.
Yeah, we are.
So we're about to start on that right now. We got the intake right here. About to start tearing some stuff apart. Alright guys, I got the intake all prepped up, ready to spray it the pewter color, same color as the car. Alright, the intake's all finished up. I've got 3 good coats on it. Alright, so we got pretty much everything disconnected off of here. Harness is off of it, fuel line's off, all the bolts are loose except for the back one on this side, about to pull it. And then this intake's coming out of here. And I got Connor over here is pulling the knock sensors and harness out of the Trans Am's motor, because I just replaced these not that long ago, and this one's throwing a code for knock sensors, so we're going to go ahead and throw that. Those are new sensors in a harness, maybe 10,000 miles on them at most, so we're going to put them in this guy, and then we'll get some fresh ones for the TA motor when we go back together. So hopefully that fixes our issue for that. So we got the intake out of there, and looking down in here, these have been ported before. Look at the grooving on there. I'll get a flashlight and show y'all a little better, but these have been ported for sure. So it's been a couple days now since we've taken the intake off of this thing, and after a long thought and consideration of what we should do here, I think we're going to take these heads off and swap them out with the TA heads. I know we're kind of robbing a lot of stuff off of this car, and it's kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, the TA, I want to take it to the next level. I want it to be the best it can be, and I'm balling on a budget here. So the plan is to take these off, put the TA heads on it, and the reason for that is because these have been ported out so much. I believe they've been port matched to that intake. So if I threw the stock intake on here, don't think it'll fit right. As you've seen just a little bit ago, putting that gasket up to it for the stock intake gasket, there's not much lip or edge for that gasket to sit on. So if that intake is on there just perfectly, one of those runners could be off, and then it won't seal right, and that's a big problem. So I don't want to take any chances with that, and these heads are really nice, and it'd be really cool to have them on the Trans Am. So the plan is to take these guys off, clean them up, and save them for the TA. The heads that are on the TA's motor over here, we'll take these guys off, get them cleaned up, and I'm sure that the valve train in these heads is going to have aftermarket springs and stuff like that, so we'll actually swap that stuff over, because this thing's got a gnarly cam and stuff in it, so it needs the supporting mods. So we'll take the springs out of these heads, put them in those heads, put those heads on here, and be good to go. So because I've already got all new springs and all that good stuff for when we go back together with the motor for the Trans Am. So that's the plan as of now. I've thought about it for a while. I didn't want to do this, but at the same time I feel like it's going to be safe to make sure that the intakes work with what we're trying to do here, and it's going to be a good little bump for the Trans Am too, and it's not going to take a big chunk of money out of my pocketbook. It's just going to take some time and labor. So that's what we're about to start on right now. Clean it looks in here. This is crazy. These heads are so clean on the inside. That is wild looking. Oh, they've been coated. They've got a coating in there to make it, I believe, to make it slicker so that the oil can return quicker. These rockers are pretty dirty. Look how dirty that rocker is there. It's wild how clean these heads look though. That is insane. Yeah, and we got nice dual springs in here as well. Those are pretty slick. And it is getting cold, but look at this sunset. These sunsets are beautiful. Look at this. It's like this almost every night. Wow. But alright, so where we're at, we've got valve covers off, we've got spark plugs out, all that good stuff. So all that's really left is to pull the headers, the rockers and push rods, and the steam vents, and then we can pull the heads. I just did the oil change on this thing with full synthetic, and I put a quart of the Lucas oil stabilizer in there, like not even 50 miles ago, probably not even 50 miles on this thing. As I'm going to drain that oil into a clean pan and keep it. When you pull the heads on these, coolant and stuff goes flying everywhere. So, and the reason I'm going to drain the oil is because the coolant, if it does, when you separate these, it'll run down the end of the oil pan. So it is a little cold outside, but that's not going to stop us from being able to work inside the garage. So I am about to start the teardown process on this motor. I'm going to start getting these heads off right now and getting them ready to go on the Camaro. Look at this, we are officially deep into the Trans Am's motor. It's pretty wild. We got some flat top pistons in here. Don't seem to have any damage or anything to them. Cylinder walls, this one looks a little nasty. If you can see that on the camera, that cylinder wall, that cylinder looks a little nasty. The rest of these are okay. This one's got some up and down lateral marks on it. I would say it's time for these things to be cleaned up for sure. Our cylinder head over here looks pretty good too. Looks nice and clean. For the most part, these valves look pretty nasty though. Look a little burned to me. So we'll when we're replacing these valve springs, we'll take a look at those. Time to pull the head off the other side of this bad boy. Come to the time where we pull these stock valve springs off the Trans Am's heads. These are the 241 heads. About to disassemble them, so whenever the Camaro heads come off, we can put the nice dual springs into these heads. Using this OTC valve spring compressor, 4572 is the part number. This thing works like a champ, and we got the heads off the car. So we have got the heads tore down so far. Got all the valve springs off. It's another beautiful day here in Tuttle, Oklahoma. And we are back on this bad boy. So I've already kind of started messing with it a little bit. We're going to pull the steam port back off that I just sealed back on there. We're going to pull that guy off, and then we're going to get our headers unbolted, and then we're going to take out our rockers and all that good stuff, and we'll start pulling head bolts. Some good progress on the Camaro so far tonight. Wanted to show you all something that I found in here that I thought was pretty cool. I assumed all these parts were going to be nice aftermarket parts, but it's cool to open it up and actually see. We've got some Texas Speed 80 wall 7.350 length push rods. So these are some nice heavy duty push rods. We're going to check them all for straightness, just because we're already in here. We'll check them all for straightness. I got everything labeled here in order, even though we're changing what heads these parts are in. We want to go ahead and keep them together if we can. We've got the oil drained out of this, and it still looked brand new like I thought it would, so we got that in a clean container. Headers are off of there. Valve train is pulled. So really the next step is just to unbolt the heads. We need to try and move the header some more so I can get to those lower bolts. But yeah, that's the next step, would be to pull the heads off here.